welcome to Having a Yarn. My name is Casey and today I'm going to be sharing with you my updated me-made wardrobe and a few other crafty bits and pieces that I've been up to. First of all, what I wanted to share is what I am wearing right now, which is the Novice Cardigan Chunky Edition by Petite Knit, which I made in a Modavira Mawson. It's in this beautiful oat colour. In some photos it turns out a bit grey, but it's just that perfect kind of creamy, browny, a little bit mottled, just beautiful, super neutral, goes with everything. Literally been wearing it every day. I wear it to work over all my little work outfits. It's kind of cropped as well, which is far more cropped than it was in the original. I have a very short waist, so I generally will crop everything. And then also, the other change that I made was the ribbing as well. So I decided to do a twisted rib rather than just the standard one by one rib that was suggested in the pattern. It was the first time I've ever done a twisted rib and I love it. I actually find it easier to do. So a twisted rib, all you're doing is you're knitting and purling through the back loop. I just found it a lot easier to do and it just turns out a lot nicer. I find that it just turns out neater and just kind of cinches it in a lot better as well. So I did the twisted rib on the button band, on the collar, on the cuffs, and on the band at the bottom there as well. This was a really nice easy knit. This is about a 12 or 14 ply, which is the Australian kind of weight, which is, I think it's considered chunky. A chunky weight yarn. The original pattern suggests that you hold double, but I decided to just go for this yarn here because one, it was a lot cheaper just rather than having to get two lots of yarn that you hold double. I just got the one type of yarn and I don't know whether you can tell here that it's actually got this nice little like fuzzy fluffiness to it anyway. So you kind of get that same effect when you're holding say like a silk mohair or something. So yeah, turned out really nice. I really like it. Next on my finished objects, I've actually got a couple of things which I don't actually physically have here with me because they were gifts and they've gone to their recipients. So the first one I actually spoke about in my previous video. It was a work in progress and it was the color pooling blanket. The pattern is by Repeat Crafter Me and I used the Karen Simply Soft stripes and then just a navy blue for the border. And this was a crochet granny cluster where you use the specifically striped wool where they've got specific lengths of each color, and so you can actually create this really amazing kind of color pooling pattern just by making sure that every length of color you do 6 little granny clusters. So as I mentioned in the last video, in the beginning it can be a little bit tough to get your tension correct, so then that way when you finish that color you're finishing right at the end of that 6th cluster. But once you've been doing it for a while, you kind of know how tight you need to go and you can kind of, tighten it up at the end or loosen it up at the end of those clusters to be able to get the right length. And I think it turned out super cute. I gave it to a friend of mine who's got a little boy and it's a little kind of baby blanket for him. So that was really fun to kind of finish up. It was one of those really long-term work in progress that I'd had. And I think I've mentioned previously that what I'm trying to do is to really focus on either completing or kind of frogging or abandoning projects that I have around the house rather than just starting lots of new things. I really want to kind of get rid of my stash. I don't really want to stash when it comes to fabric or yarn. I want to kind of buy something, make it and move on. So that was nice to get that one all finished. And the next one that was a gift also was the Seaside Set, just the jumper, again by Petite Knit. And I did it in the Patterns Baby Dreamtime Merino 4-ply in this kind of beautiful, maybe kind of like a denim blue kind of color and a beautiful creamy white as well. So I love doing the stripes. Again, I've done a few Petite Knit patterns and find them really easy to follow. and I really liked how this one turned out. And probably my favorite part was doing the little button band on the kind of shoulder seam, which then allows you to kind of open it up, so then that way you can get kind of Bub's head through. So doing that little section there was really interesting, and I liked the way that it kind of came together, and it really felt like I was learning a new skill, which was nice. And that went to another friend of mine who has a little boy, a little gift for him, which I thought was super cute. Okay, so I've also been pretty busy since I last spoke to you with some sewing as well. So I've added a few new things to my Me-Made wardrobe. The first thing is the ever popular, which I think I'm pretty late to the game, was the Zadie jumpsuit by Paper Theory. Now, I'm not really into jumpsuits. I don't find them that practical to wear. If I'm going to make something that I want to have that looks like a jumpsuit, I'd rather make a set instead and have a pair of pants and a matching top that kind of gives off that jumpsuity kind of vibe. But yeah, just practically, I'm not a particular fan of jumpsuits, but everyone raves about this pattern. And what I really liked about it was the kind of the wrap over front section that just seemed to fit all body types really, really well. So I decided to hack the Zadie jumpsuit into a dress, and this was around December last year. I wanted to make kind of like a Christmas party kind of frock. So what I decided to do is I had some this beautiful color blue linen, which was actually from a quilt cover set that I got from H&M, which was on sale. So it was a king size quilt cover set that H&M had on sale for $20. So in the end, I calculated I got about, I think, 8 or 9 meters of 100% linen fabric for $20, which is absolutely insane. And I had actually bought 4 of these sets, and 2 of those sets I actually use as bedding, and the other 2 sets I had plans to make clothes out of them. So because I wanted to make a wearable toile of the Zadie jumpsuit dress hack, I decided to use the blue linen. And in the end, I actually prefer the blue linen version. So this one I did as a kind of a shorter one with just 1 tier on the skirt, because it was really just to kind of test the fit of the top section and how to kind of attach the skirt, because the skirt section was a bit of a hack that I found a few tutorials online. And yeah, I think it turned out really beautiful. I did a little kind of flutter sleeve as well, which I think turned out quite cute. And then I moved on to my main fabric, which was just a beautiful green textured gingham from Spotlight. And I know gingham's like kind of very big and trendy at the moment. So I thought, rather than going out and kind of just buying something fast fashion, I'd like to make something that was a little bit trendy, but using but making it myself. And I think it turned out really beautiful. So it's got 2 tiers on the skirt, and I just put like a lot of like floof. Like I just wanted a lot of gathers and volume and everything. So I've got a lot of volume kind of on the sleeves and a lot of volume kind of through those 2 tiers as well, which I think actually turned out pretty cute. And then the last thing that I've added recently to my Me-Made wardrobe were 2 summer pajama sets. So at the moment, it's middle of winter here in Australia. So this was, quite a few months ago now, and I haven't been wearing them recently. But I wanted just some little pajama sets. So I actually did the Willow Tank. Is it the Willow Tank? I'll write it down below. But yeah, I think it's the Willow Tank that I did for the tops, which I've done a million before. And it's just a really nice kind of wide strap tank top. And then the pants were just shorts that I'd made using the Tilly and the Buttons pajama pants from the Love It First Stitch book. I just shortened them into shorts and just put an elastic waist in there. Don't really like actual workable drawstrings, so they've just got elastic in there. And then one of them's got a button on the front and the other's got like a little fake drawstring just on the front. And I think they turned out so cute. I love the colours of them. I chose like a kind of a light blue kind of colour, and then a beautiful kind of khaki green colour as well. And they're both in like a double gauze from Spotlight. I feel like Spotlight last summer just like nailed kind of the textured fabrics, like there was heaps of double gauzes, there was that really beautiful textured ginghams, there was just a lot of fabric with texture, which I think was really nice, because that's what, yeah, I really enjoy. Oh yes, and I almost forgot, I did this little self-drafted top. So I had this little kind of strappy, really cropped top that I wore with high-waisted skirts and shorts and stuff during summer, and I really liked the way it fit, so I decided to give self-drafting a pattern a try. I'm not sure it's my forte, is self-drafting patterns from an existing piece of clothing. It definitely does not fit as well as the original. There was some weird sort of kind of gaping situation that was happening kind of at the top of the chest, and so I had to kind of pull it and kind of cross over the top section a little bit more to kind of get rid of this gaping, and I don't really know where that gaping came from, because all I did was get the original garment, trace around it, and create a pattern piece from that. And it's super simple pattern pieces, but it turned out pretty cute. Like I posted on Instagram and said, like, literally 90 minutes ago, this top didn't even exist in my mind, and then suddenly I had this little remnant that I had from Spotlight that I'd had for ages, and it kind of gave me that little bit of a Gorman-esque kind of print vibe, it was just such a small bit of fabric that I wasn't really sure what to do with it, and then I just thought, I love this little top, let's see if I can make it, and I think it turned out cute. Might not be the best fit, but I love it anyway. And that is all my finished objects. And now on to works in progress. So the memory throw that I spoke about in my last video is still a work in progress, but I have been kind of just working on it here and there. So that is using the sheepies, don't know how to say it, the stone washed and river washed little minis. There's the little minis there. I think they're so cute. And the colours, just ridiculous. And these are the ones that I've made up. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing all the middle sections. So that's the middle section, and then once I've done all the middle sections in the colours, then I will go ahead and do the border around each in like a cream, and then they get all joined together with the cream as well. I haven't worked on this in a while. This is a crochet project that I am working on because I like to sometimes go between crochet and knitting as well, just depending on the mood that I'm in. So I've got quite a few now that have been done. Just like loving the colours, like honestly. Like my favourite bit is just choosing which one I'm gonna crochet up next. Just absolutely love it. So I haven't been working on this one in a while, but I'll get back to it soon. And yeah, I think that'll be really nice once it's all finished. So my last project is the Rosary jumper by Rosary Apparel. So Janelle at Rosary Apparel, who does amazing videos here on YouTube, actually knitted this jumper from like an old 80s pattern that I think maybe her mum had. And I think she got so much good reception about it that she actually wrote to them and said, is she allowed to republish it, which she did. And it's actually a free pattern that you can get on her website. So I downloaded that, and I really love it because I wanted to give lace knitting a try. So kind of I feel like I've nailed the kind of standard stockinette kind of knitting, and I wanted to do something a little bit more tricky, either some color work or some lace work, and decided that this kind of like cropped 80s jumper was just kind of my vibe. So I did a little swatch here. So this was just for me to try and decide which yarn I wanted to use. So, and which one kind of looked better with that kind of lace pattern. So in the end, so these three, so the three kind of greeny ones were just 100% wool. So a little bit scratchier. And then this one here was like a merino, superwash merino, I believe. But in the end, I went with this color at the top here because I feel like just the pattern looks more defined, particularly that bottom one with the dual color. I feel like you can't really see the lace pattern that well, and I feel like the lace pattern is a little bit too open using the finer merino. So I think that was just the best bet. So I ended up going with this one here, which is actually just this 4 Seasons pure wool. So it's 100% pure Australian wool in this mint color. And this I actually just got from Spotlight, and it was on sale for like $2.50 a ball. And this is a 50-gram ball. So in the end, I've made some jumpers in the past, honestly, when I've used fancy yarn, that have cost me probably $200-300 just in yarn. Whereas this one only cost me $35 in yarn. So super excited about that. And even though it is a little bit rougher because it's just pure Australian wool, when it does, it actually blocks up quite nice. Like it's actually quite soft now that I've kind of washed and blocked it. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I've started on that. I'm just going to show you here. This is how much I've done. I'm just going to make sure I'm not losing my stitches here. So I've done the ribbing at the bottom. So this is the back panel. It's made from the bottom up and it's made in panels. So this is the back panel. So that's the ribbing at the bottom. Again, I decided to do a twisted rib for this one, which wasn't in the pattern, but it just ends up being a much nicer, neater finish. And then I've started on some of the lace here. So it's a 12-row repeat, which starts with this kind of chevron pattern, and then you've got the little lace pattern on the inside. So between the kind of chevrons to the next chevrons, there's 12-row repeat there. But to be honest, after the first 2 rows, I pretty much had the pattern memorized. It's pretty easy. You just purl the back side, and then the front one is a pretty easy repeat. So, oh my God, I just love it so much. So cute. It's going to take me a while because obviously with the lace it takes a lot longer, and it means that I can't really do it just like if I'm watching TV or having a chat with someone, because on those, the purl rows is fine, but when I'm having to count, yeah, you don't want to lose count and do the wrong thing. And then in the lace, it's a lot harder to figure out kind of where you're up to and to fix it. Anyway, super excited about that one. It probably will be ready. So it is now almost beginning of July at the moment. So it probably won't be ready until next winter, but it'll be something that I will just enjoy knitting. I quite like knitting in summer as well. So I'll probably knit it for the next year and yeah, hopefully show you next winter my nice new jumper. And that is everything. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing a bit of an insight into what I've been working on recently and the few pieces that I've been able to add to my Me Made wardrobe. And I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.